We just know that Music City Mall has just been evacuated. I can say earlier for the past couple hours, I've seen a lot of Department of Public Safety going all throughout Odessa. On 42nd Street, where you find that Twin Peaks, there was an officer there that was waving down vehicles. It did look like they were trying to look for a specific vehicle, but I do not know which one that is. Now, right now, we're still waiting for the Odessa police chief to go ahead and make that statement. It looks like they're about ready to walk in right now, so we're going to go ahead and send it back to you, and I'll update you with everything that happened inside the press conference. At Odessa Police Department, I'm Phoenix O'Connor.
Well,
okay, so we're still waiting to hear more from officials. Right now, they're very busy working many different scenes scattered throughout Odessa.
Yes.
We've heard reports of them being at
Synergy,
Twin
Peaks.
Yes, Twin Peaks. We're waiting for a report from the hospital, from the police department, and obviously very, very busy work for them. We do have confirmed reports out of University Medical Center in Lubbock that a 17-month-old was shot in the face and is headed that way for treatment. So a very serious situation there. And those hospital staff members are standing by, waiting to give that child that toddler, actually 17 months, give that toddler some treatment.
Just trying. Okay, we are actually about to take this press conference. Okay, guys, so we're about to take a press conference from the Odessa Police Department where we expect to hear from the police chief and hopefully brief us on the latest of this confirmed active shooter situation. Me and Melissa have been here talking about how many different pieces there are. I won't say any more. Let's go ahead and leave it to officials here.
Guys, what I'll do is give a very short opening statement. I'll take a few questions. Then, I mean, surely you guys understand that this is a very fluid situation that we're going to have to get back to, okay? And understand also that we will have periodic updates. This won't be it. We'll keep you guys informed. We'll make sure everyone knows what's going on. Okay.
Sorry, one second.
Wow, what a horrific day for Odessa, Ector County, Midland County. Let's start at the beginning. Situation started about 3:17 this afternoon when a DPS trooper attempted to stop a gold Honda. When the DPS troopers got the car stopped, he was then shot by the occupant of the car. The vehicle continued westbound into the city of Odessa and shot an individual at I-20 in our our east loop. Apparently, the subject then drove on our east loop to 42nd Street, where there were multiple scenes and multiple victims. At some point, the subject stole a mail truck, ditched his car, and there were other victims after that. The victim then went eastbound back on 42nd towards Synergy, which is a local movie theater, and at that point was contacted by law enforcement, by officers from the Odessa Police Department, the Midland Police Department, the Texas Department of Public Safety, and I'm sure others. Again, this is a very fluid, changing situation. So please understand that what I'm telling you is not written in stone. These facts, this knowledge can change, okay? At that point, this subject was contacted by law enforcement, and an exchange of gunfire happened, and that subject is deceased at that location. We have law enforcement injured. We have the DPS trooper in Midland County. We have one MPD officer and one OPD officer that were struck. As far as civilian casualties, we have at least 21 victims, 21 shooting victims, and at least 5 deceased at this point in time. Please understand that this is not just an OPD and a Midland Police Department and a DPS thing. Both Sheriff's Office, Midland County Sheriff's Office and Ector County Sheriff's Office was involved in the hunt for this guy. our local school district police department, our University of the Texas of the Permian Basin School, police department was involved. This was a joint effort by just a multitude of departments to find this animal and bring him to justice. At this point, I'll take questions.
Has the suspect been identified?
Right now, I'll tell you that he is a white male in his mid-30s. I don't have a positive identification on him yet. I have an idea who he is, so I won't release that information until we're absolutely positive.
Are there any current active shooters going on at this time?
We've had calls, which is to be expected, because obviously our citizens are a little jumpy after this, which is also to be expected. But once this individual was taken out of the picture, there have been no more victims.
Is there a reason to believe that there is a second suspect that is on the loose?
There have been reports that that's possible, but again, there have been no confirmations of that.
Any updates on the conditions of the other people that were shot but are still alive?
I can't tell you that right now, and you know, the big thing is it's so chaotic still at the local hospitals that it's very difficult to get that information.
A lot of people on Facebook are searching for family members who they probably are not able to get a hold of. What's the idea and behind that, and how they can keep in contact with the hospital and other law enforcement?
Well, again, once we are able to compile a list of victims' names, we can absolutely put that out.
Also, I'm sorry, the hospital has set up an area for patients' families. Medical Center Hospital has set up an area for patients' families in the cafeteria, and they do have 12 chaplains on staff.
So we got reports of 2 vehicles earlier today. What, I guess, is that not confirmed?
I think what the issue with that was that you had the original vehicle and then you had the mail truck. At one point, we didn't know that that was the same person, but that is confirmed now, same person. Anything else?
Do we know what kind of firearm was used? Was it a gun? Was it a shotgun?
Obviously, it was a gun. At this point, I'm really not sure.
And then how did the incident begin?
Again, it started with the traffic stop, the attempted traffic stop by the UPS.
Precautions for the general public?
You know, I would tell people to still be cautious, still try to stay in their residences if all possible. We do believe that we have the threat contained, but I can't be 1,000% positive that that's the case at this point.
It might be way too early to tell, but any motive that you guys are?
No, absolutely. I can't tell you of a motive at this point.
Do you know what the traffic stop was for?
I do not.
Do you know what happened to the postal employee that, I guess, their truck was hijacked?
At this point, I don't know. I would assume that he's part of the victim list, but I'm not sure of his status.
I saw an ECISD bus going down 191. Are you guys using the school transportation to help the victims or patients or anything like that?
Not to my knowledge, no. Okay. All right. Thank you, guys. We're going to go back to work, and we will update you periodically, okay?
I just want to make sure I have my facts right. Is that okay if I just ask you a few more questions?
EMS?
Same question that's been confirmed.
I mean, do you want to give it EMS?
This is police Mike Gerke.
20,
Mike Gerke?
Jerky. It's called Gerke. It's Gerke.
Gerke.
Yes.
Thank you, sir.
Do you want to give an EMS?
Sure, I
Okay,
don't
so Chief
mind.
Alvarez is going to give an EMS update if you guys would like him to.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm all wrapped.
Well, welcome back to the News West 9 studio. Obviously, we just heard from the police chief some
Mike Gerke from the Odessa Police Department.
Yes, some horrifying statistics there. 21 victims, at least 5 dead.
We know so far that one DPS officer was shot, one Midland police officer, an Odessa police officer, and that latest report says 21 victims were shot, and they have confirmed 5 people died
deceased, yeah.
from that shooting.
And
So
we don't have any information on the conditions of those that are injured. You know, you can imagine some of them are critical. We've heard reports of that 17-month-old who's going through being airlifted to the Lubbock hospital. Obviously, hoping she pulls through or whatever the case may be.
One thing I think it's really important to note out of that press conference that we got was that they believe that the threat has been contained, is how they put it.
Right.
And
something that we've been saying pretty much in our entire newscast is that there appeared to be 2 shooters. That does not appear to be the case at this time. Officials, that's why, you know, there's, like you've said, these things are so fluid and there's so many moving pieces with the suspect hijacking cars and being identified in different cars and shooting from people at different cars, that it's almost impossible to determine just what exactly was happening, or in this case, how many suspects there were. But thankfully,
yes,
okay.
they've confirmed that they believe that the threat was contained, and they do not believe that there is a second suspect. However, they are continuing to make sure that there is not someone else out there that might be involved. And so
at this time, stay inside.
Yeah, it's not a good idea to get out.
Still a lot of police presence, still a lot of active investigations. Just let the police do their thing tonight. Make a nice home meal, sit with your family, enjoy your family.
Yeah,
and say a prayer for the victims, maybe. At this time, we are going to toss to Tate Owen, who has more live from out in Odessa.
Okay, yeah, I heard her voice. Step by Tate.
Yeah, so I'm out here at Medical Center Hospital in Odessa, and I've been watching the scene unfold as, you know, the last hour has gone by or so. What we know so far is that 5 people have been confirmed dead and 21 injured. Now, it's definitely a somber situation out here right now. I'm going to step to the side so you can kind of take a look at what we've been seeing. So you can see out here that there is an ambulance right now, and we're not sure if somebody was being transported in or out on this particular emergency vehicle, but we have had it confirmed by hospital officials that what they're doing right now is taking people out of this particular hospital that have those less critical injuries to make room for people who have the more severe injuries. Now, we also have it confirmed that all hospital personnel has been called in. Now, that's doctors, surgeons, nurses, so all hands are on deck out here at this situation. So again, 5 people are for sure confirmed dead. We do know that that's absolutely true. Midland police officer, Odessa police officer, also a state trooper included in that count. And we will keep watching this scene. The most active activity that we've seen here so far was about 15 minutes ago or so. There was about 10 officers that took off running to their car, and they all took off from the scene with sirens on and everything. And we aren't sure where they were headed, but like I said, we will keep you updated on the most active information we get as that comes to us. So again, Dana, I'll check back in with you guys as soon as I know some more information.
Okay, well, back here at the News West 9 studios, we're just going through all this information, trying to kind of digest it.
One of the things that came out of the press conference is that they are not sure what kind of firearm was used. So right now, we don't know what the shooter was using.
I don't want to speak out of turn. Obviously, caught up in the fluidity of the situation. When I was speaking with DPS officials, they told me that the shooter had a rifle. Now, that's not Odessa Police. I mean, obviously these law enforcement agencies all have to speak with one another and confirm information with one another, but that came directly from a DPS official that we rely on for a lot of confirmed information. It was also in the heat of the moment.
Yeah, but so just not confirmed right now.
Right, but it appears, he told me that they were using a rifle. Also
really important to note that whenever they're doing those press conferences, they're doing that as a courtesy to the public to let them know what's going on and get us updated. They are taking time during a very hectic moment to give us the very latest information that they have, but Chief Gerke was expressing concern about giving information out that could possibly change even what he was giving us.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And he painted a little bit of a timeline that kind of cleared up that 2-shooter situation for us. Still a little bit of questions about what was going on with that white pickup truck. Obviously, there could have been different descriptions. Maybe something else happened. We just knew that we did have reports at Synergy that came from Police Gerke. So, but if you listen to what he had to say, he basically said, again, as we had suspected, that this all started with a traffic stop just after 3 o'clock. DPS officer tried to pull over a gold Honda on I-20. That suspect, that driver, firing shots, hitting that DPS officer, and then taking off. I-20 to East Loop, and then East Loop, where he said another person was shot in that area, and then from East Loop to 42nd Street, where apparently most of this chaos took place, and that kind of lines up with everything that we heard from social media reports. Everyone was, what's going on at Home Depot, what's going on at Twin Peaks, such a heavy police presence, and from Police Chief Gerke, he said multiple shootings and multiple victims in that area before he traveled to Midland and then back east to Synergy, where he appears to have been killed.
When that trooper initially pulled the suspect over in the gold Honda, the suspect in that gold Honda shot that trooper right there, and this is where the whole thing started. That vehicle went west, like you said, east Loop 250, and traveled to 42nd Street. Multiple victims there, and then multiple victims at Synergy. Again, Odessa Police, Ector County Sheriffs, Midland Police, Midland County Sheriffs, School District Police, even the colleges and the ECISD, MPD,
Everybody, all
MISD
hands
Police.
on deck. And
everybody is helping out with this, and
something that's not uncommon to this area, but obviously given the scope and the gravity of this situation, you love to see that our officers are so able to work together in such fluidity. And if you missed it in the press conference, he did identify the suspect as a white male in his mid-30s. I found it interesting. I don't know if you caught it, but he said that he had an idea
of who it was,
who he might be. Leads us to believe, obviously we don't want to make any assumptions or play the gossip game, but maybe this person was a local. He seemed to have, that's just what I took away from it, considering that he said he might know who he was. That will obviously be released in the near future.
Could mean anything, if they run plates and find out who it is.
That's true.
They just aren't releasing any names, but he did say that he had an idea of who it was that might be the suspect. Again, that suspect was shot, and I think it's really important to mention the victims in this case, because there are 21 victims shot, and at this time we don't know the names of any of those victims. They aren't releasing those, and one of the reasons I think that they're not releasing those is they said they're compiling a list of names, and of course next of kin and things have to be notified if there is a death involved. We know 21 victims were shot. We don't know the severity of those injuries, but we do know that 5 people right now are confirmed dead.
Right, outside of those 21, I believe.
Yep.
And right now we do have some new sound. We have some breaking sound that just came into our newsroom from apparently a witness to one of the shootings. So we're going to go ahead and take that soundbite for you really quick.
Synergy was surrounded by police officers, and then there was police officers nearby the area. So as we were leaving, that's when we saw the U.S. Postal van going right as we passed the street at a high rate of speed going east, like towards Synergy. But they had drove behind Synergy. They had the roads blocked. He ran into a couple of police officers, and they were shooting at the van when it came to a stop. Once I guess they got nearby and they realized that he was not alive, it's when they pulled him out of the van. Crazy. I just never realized that we would have experienced anything like that here in our own community. Because we were running, and at the same time you're looking out for your loved ones, making sure that they're behind you or close by. Your heart's going at 100 miles an hour, thinking, "Are we going to get out of here alive?" It was crazy. It was scary. It was crazy. Our hearts were racing, and I was telling my husband, I didn't know we were going to run out the front door and get shot, or run out the front door and be safe.
Obviously, just a very scary situation. You can kind of hear the fear in her voice there as she kind of laid out the end to that shooter's life at Synergy, where he appears to have been shot, and she was kind of there for that. I remember I spoke with when we were kind of receiving all of these phone calls and the really the heat of the moment and everything was unfolding, we got a call from one of our sales associates, Simona, who was at Synergy as well, and she said SWAT had run into the theaters, and I had so many things to do, and I didn't want to obviously put her off as a friend and a colleague. I was trying to confirm information, but just hearing that fear in her voice, it's something. It's tough to deal with at times. Anyways, now we're going to go ahead and toss it over to Lauren, who has some reports from social media for us.
That's right, Dana. I'm still on social media, just still looking at y'all's tweets, still looking at that information that you're wanting to know from us, or maybe here if you missed it. But like we said, the press conference has confirmed that 5 are dead and 21 have been injured. But of those 5, I've actually come across a tweet. We cannot confirm this information. This was not confirmed in the press conference. Danielle Lay has said mail carriers whose vehicle was stolen is dead. They did confirm that mail carrier's vehicle was stolen, but she's saying that the mail carrier is dead. My husband works for USPS, and he has confirmed it. It was a young lady. That is just tragic. Do y'all know where that mail carrier was when it was stolen at the time? Do we have that information?
We believe it was out of Odessa. At this time, we're not sure exact of the location.
We know that the vehicle went west on I-20, and according to Chief Gerke, headed down East Loop in Odessa to 42nd Street.
And it was at some point in that movement of the suspect that he abandoned his gold Honda and then stole
that mail truck. Yep.
As you can see on our screen right now, we've got some of our local officials. I've seen Brooks Landgraf, this is Jerry Morales, and we obviously had the statement from Governor Abbott just a few moments ago, who are all expressing their condolences and asking the public to remain safe and, please stay away from going outside tonight. Just stay at home. That's been the message all along since this all started at about 3 o'clock. And now we're actually going to go ahead and toss to Tate Owen, who's still at the Medical Center Hospital, and she's going to give us a little bit of an update from out there. So, Tate, what do you have for us?
Yeah, thank you. So I'm still out here at Medical Center Hospital in Odessa, keeping an eye on the situation as it unfolds. And we're actually not seeing as many ambulances arrive as we would expect to see with a situation like this. Now, we do have reports that are confirmed 5 people are dead, including a Midland police officer, Odessa police officer, and a state trooper. Again, we do have confirmed reports that 21 people are also injured. So if I step out of the scene for you just a little bit so you can take a look at what we've been looking at, you can see that there is an ambulance right here. Now, he's getting ready to leave the premises as we're speaking. So we're not sure if he's transporting somebody out of the facility or in the facility, but we do know for sure it has been confirmed by Medical Center Hospital officials. But what they're doing right now in this hospital is transporting people from the to make room for the people with the more critical injuries. So again, as this situation unfolds, I will keep you updated. I'm going to stay out here at the hospital and watch things, and I'll update you as that continues to happen.
Thanks, Tate. And just for some clarity, I know she's got a lot going on out there at the hospital as she continues to try and compile the latest information for us. It kind of sounded like she said that 5 people were dead, and that included the Midland Police Department officer, the Odessa Police Department, and DPS officer. That doesn't appear to be the case. According to the police chief, Gerke, we don't believe any of the officers
were killed in this situation. I'm getting a social media report. This is, of course, unconfirmed. All social media reports are. But we are getting a social media report about an area on I-20 from JBS Parkway, that there are trucks out there and lots of blood on the road. And it appears to be an oil-filled sand truck. So lots of reports like that coming in where folks are out and about and may not be aware of what's going on and coming across these scenes. And again, if you have relatives that are out and maybe running errands and may not be aware, you might just kind of check on them or ask them to stay put for just a little bit while law enforcement is working a very difficult situation.
Yeah, and a little bit removed now from the police conference. I guess if just in case you're just tuning in, we should probably go ahead and run through the facts of the case. As of right now, although we started with an active shooter threat It appears that threat is over here in the Permian Basin. That's the latest from Odessa Police Chief, Mr. Gerke. He says the suspect has been killed. We do know that 21 victims were shot. We know that 5 are dead. We know this all started with a traffic stop, which it appears to have taken place in, I believe, Midland County off I-20, and then that's where that suspect during that traffic stop just shot at a DPS officer. The traffic stop was being conducted by DPS, shot the officer, and then possibly shot maybe a civilian there. We know that of the 21, we haven't confirmed how many were shot in each incident, but after that incident, after that traffic stop, he fled the scene, fled to Odessa, shot somebody at I-20 in East Loop, and then took East Loop to 42nd Street, where we got all of those reports. We got all of those phone calls about so many different shootings kind of unraveling there, and by the Twin Peaks, by the Walmart, by that very popular
reports of multiple victims there.
Yeah, very popular shopping area. We got reports that UTPB had been placed on lockdown. I think all of that kind of worked together in that situation. And after those string of shootings, what appears to be, he then fled back to Midland. And at some point, excuse me, I'm getting ahead of myself. At some point, he hijacks a mail van, flees back to Midland, shoots a Midland officer and possibly more victims, and then heads east to Synergy. And that appears to where this all came to an end. And DPS, and as we mentioned, all officers, Midland County Sheriff's Office, Midland Police Department, Ector County, nearly every local agency kind of came together, converged on this suspect, and were able to shoot and kill that suspect.
We know that suspect is, Chief Gerke says, is a white male in his mid-30s. We know that Chief Gerke says that he believes he knows who the suspect is and has him identified, but they are not releasing any names at this point until they are completely sure and have that information confirmed. We'll get you that information as soon as we have it confirmed, and we will let you know. More importantly, we will get you the names of the victims as soon as we know. They are compiling a list of those victims. We know 21 victims, so at this point we know that 5 are dead. You know, an interesting thing that we don't know yet is they have not said exactly what type of firearm was used, and they have not said why that gold Honda was pulled over initially. We don't know. So far, there are just no reports of that. So we are working on getting you that information. We have a newsroom that is full of people right now and support coming from all of our stations across the state of Texas to help us out with this story. So we will keep you updated on digital and social media as well as here on the air.
Right. And I do have a new statement from President Trump on Twitter as we remain kind of in the focus of all of the nation at this time, given the horrific nature and the gravity of this situation. President Trump has tweeted, and I'll quote, "Just briefed by Attorney General about shootings in Texas, FBI and law enforcement is fully engaged. More to follow." And again, we already know that Governor Abbott, you can see the tweet now on our screen. We also know that Governor Abbott will be in the Permian Basin tomorrow to help brief, I guess, federal officials and local law enforcement and kind of try to move forward from this tragedy. You know, Melissa, it's not something that I really wanted to talk about, but obviously, I think if you follow News West 9, you know I was in El Paso, and I saw that community that had to rally together, and I didn't think that I would have to report on something like this again so soon. It's just it's so painful because we just look at the numbers right now as we try to bring you the latest information. We know that 21 people are affected. We know that 5 are dead. We know that those 21 people branch out into families and friends and that make up our community. And obviously we don't know the condition of those people that are hurt and how many will survive and how many we could end up with more. And just the loss of life, it's something that
senseless. It's senseless.
It's senseless, and
yeah, this is something that no community is prepared to deal with. But certainly something that you never expect to happen to you, and you hear so many times people saying that whenever gun violence is going on, and lots of finger pointing, and the bottom line is that we've got to
The bottom line is
bond
the
together
innocent
and,
lives that are
and
lost. We need to remember them correctly. We need to mourn them,
Yeah.
and this gives the community a chance to come together in tragedy and hopefully eventually send a message to these people of violence that they won't. I don't know. It's just so tough to cover these things.
And at this point, again, hang on to your loved ones. Tell them to stay inside.
Cook a home cooked meal
yeah.
tonight.
And
say an extra prayer for those victims.
Certainly for the victims, and we're hoping that we don't get any more reports of any more victims. 21 right now, 5 dead.
And of course, that tragic
no
situation
idea
with a 17-month-old.
Yeah, no idea what sort of injuries, but we do know that 17-month-old, that's just under 2 years old, a little toddler, shot in the face, from what we understand, and is heading out to University Medical Center in Lubbock for hopefully the best care that we can possibly get that child.
West Texas.
So keep in mind that it's important to stay out of the way of officers who are trying to work these scenes.
Absolutely.
It's important to let them do their work and do their jobs so that if there is a second suspect, they'll find them. At this point, they've not indicated that there was anyone else involved. They believe there is only one individual that was causing all of this chaos. We believe that's a white male, mid-30s. They believe they know who this white male is. And
one thing I wanted to touch on, you kind of mentioned that they don't believe there's another threat out there right now. They believe that one suspect was the case and one suspect has been killed, but we have gotten reports of the Odessa City Mall, we've gotten reports of the Midland Mall, and Police Chief Gerke addressed that, and he said, these calls are okay. If you're frightened or if you feel something might be out of place, please call, let us look into it, let us have our officers respond to it, let's prevent any other violence from happening. He understands people are a little jumpy, and he understands, given the nature of this case, that people are a little on edge. So remain vigilant, remain aware of your surroundings, but as of right now,
many places, rightfully so,
Right.
Went on lockdown.
Right.
And I know we had a Bureau reporter out at the Ector County Coliseum. They locked down that Ector County Coliseum. He was inside. He said there was nothing there that was out of the ordinary, and that they did take them off lockdown, but kept that heavy law enforcement presence just outside of the gates to make sure that everybody was safe inside. So again, law enforcement taking extra precautions to keep people safe. We know that Music City Mall was also an area that they were concerned about to get inside, make sure that the folks that were inside of the mall were okay. And at this point, we don't have specific details, but I believe many of those folks out there in the mall were evacuated as well. So just taking those extra precautions and making sure that
anytime
they're
there's
safe.
a situation like this, take every precaution necessary. It's always better to be safe than sorry. Now, right now, we do have another soundbite that's come in from a witness to these shootings. We're going to go ahead and let you hear what they had to say.
Things are hectic out here. Had a lot of people scrambling into the Coliseum, just trying to get to safety because there were, rumors of active shooters in the area. Of course, that's all been confirmed now. So a lot of people just taking shelter inside the Coliseum. There's a mother kind of running out towards the midway where the rides are and whatnot, and saying she was going after her daughter. Oh my gosh, she had to get her daughter, and that was kind of sent everybody into a little frantic situation right there. But she got her daughter and a couple other little kiddos that were with that family. And shortly after that, quite a few people came running into the Coliseum. Heavy law enforcement presence on the premises still, and I would imagine that will continue to be the case still.
Okay, well, we are getting some new information into the newsroom at this time. We do know that there are some events going on in the Permian Basin right now, including
that Permian Basin Fair,
which
is there at the Ector County Coliseum.
Which is still going on, as is being reported from one of our reporters, but the crowds are very thin, and really you're not recommended to go out there. If you had plans to go out there, go out another night, maybe reschedule it for another time, because tonight is just, you don't want to be on the roads. There are still investigations, there are still police presences out there. You don't want to get involved with that. And our other reporter was able to inform us that Summer Mummers has also been canceled for tonight, so sure you can get a rain check on those tickets. It's a great event. Everybody loves Summer Mummers, but not tonight.
I'm getting an unconfirmed report that is an update on the Midland police officer who was shot. This unconfirmed report says that he is out of surgery and is in stable condition. Now, this again is very unconfirmed, but at this point, if that is the case, that would be very good news. Very good news. And any other reports that we have coming in?
We actually have a breaking report right now. I don't want to interrupt you, but we are going to have a press conference from the Medical Center Hospital with Tate, so let's go ahead and hear the latest from what's going on there. Maybe we can find out what's going on with all those victims that we know were affected.
I'm going to go live.
That's the furthest it's out.
I'm sorry.
I think it's a TBU because my TBU is plugged into the car.
All right. Try to give everybody time to set up. Sorry. All right, here we go.
You're starting.
Thank you all for coming out here on a short notice. We appreciate you being here. First of all, we're just going to be very short and very brief, but we felt it necessary just to update everybody and just to get on top of this situation. Let me introduce myself first. My name is Russell Tippin. I'm the CEO of Medical Center Health Systems. I'm joined here by Matt. He's our Chief Operations Officer. We have Cherise here. She's an RN. And then we have our marketing guy here, Lucas. So what I'm going to do here just briefly is give some facts, some quick information. I know everybody's wanting to know what the status and everything is, but we just want to come out here brief. After this is over, we're going to go back, get some more details, to get our heads wrapped around this, and then we'll inform the media when we're going to come out again with some more information, okay? So first of all, let me start with this. Anybody that hears the sound of my voice, you need to grasp on to your loved ones and hold on to them, and you need to pray for this town and all the towns and the families and the victims involved. You need to hold on to them because this is a scary incident and nobody is guaranteed tomorrow. And if you are here, you can hear my voice, please take a minute to stop and give your thoughts and your prayers to all the families and the victims of this tragic incident, okay? First of all, that's the first thing we need to do first is do that. I'm going to give you just some information about what we have going on here at Medical Center. and let me give you an update. What we know is right now we have 14 victims in the hospital, okay? We have 14 victims inside. I'm not ready to discuss ages or anything like that, but I will let you know we have 14 people on site. The hospital has staged an area for the families. We have counselors, grief counselors, everybody, social workers with the families right now, trying to provide them support. So we have them staged in an area. We have an executive nurse, and the nursing team is signed to that area to take families and update them on their family members or friends that are here. And so we have somebody assigned to that to work with the families, okay? The hospital and all the locations are locked down, and that's only for the safety of our staff and for everybody in the hospitals, okay? Once we feel it safe to open that back up, we will. But right now, everything is locked down for safety purposes, all right? Our nurses, doctors, everybody, lab techs, housekeeping, everybody is doing a fantastic job. We have good blood sources. We have good supplies right now. Everything is good at this point, okay? As far as we know, we're hearing it like y'all are. We're getting a lot of updates, a lot of information, but right now the hospital is stable, it's secure. Everybody that was in the hospital, we've secured them, we're taking care of them while taking in all these people at the same time, okay? So that's what we know. We have 14 victims here. Their conditions vary, but we're not ready to speak on that, but we do have 14 here, all right? I don't think I need to do any questions or comments other than that right now. I just wanted to update y'all on what's going on, and then we will give you more information as we have it, okay? All right, thank y'all very much. We'll be back.
Okay, again, just to recap what is happening there at Medical Center Hospital, that was Russell